Right, hello everyone. A little bit different for you today. I'm here with Martin Williamson and the ENIGMA sports car, Mazda MX-5 based.
Freudian slip there.
Yeah, inspired by the Austin Healey 3000. So this is Martin. I'll let you introduce yourself.
Yep, okay. Hi, I'm Martin Williamson, founder of Healey Enigma.
Okay, so what we'll do is we'll have a little walk around the car in a minute, and I'll let you point out some various bits and pieces of details. Yeah. But just as an overall, it's Mazda MX-5 powertrain, but it's also available with the Lexus V8 in it as well, I believe. Right, so looking around the outside of the car now in a bit more detail. Yeah. Obviously, Healey-inspired grille. Yeah. Very obviously. Yeah. But that's where a lot of the differences stop.
Yeah, I would think so. Yeah. And probably, but this particular one being a V8 has got the extra power bulge in the bonnet. Yeah. Whereas the 2 litres have got a more Healey-inspired, slimmer air duct. So yeah, the similarities probably stops there.
And one of the biggest visual differences is headlights. Yeah. They suddenly make it stop looking like a retro car and start looking like a very modern interpretation. Yeah. So let's have a look around the side.
Okay. The gills on the side, in actual fact, they're now, in fact, do you want to hold a second, I'll just show you. Sorry.
All right. Okay, so now we're around the side of the car. The gill vents on the side, you've now got a carbon overlay for. Perhaps you can show us that and how it works.
We have indeed, which that fits in there. So, because most of the parts on the car now are carbon, but they're non-visual. So
right. So if you've been paying any attention at all to what we've been doing and looking in the background, you'll realise the Enigma's not the only car in here, and there's quite a lot of other very special cars here as well. So, Martin, tell me about your other interests.
Oh, my other interests, well, basically, goes back to my apprenticeship back in '76, working for Rank, and obviously ended up for a while at Pinewood Studios. It was actually in '76 when they were making The Spy Loved Me, and being a big Bond fan, as everybody was in those days, I thought, wow, yeah, one day I'm going to get one of those, you know, and but it was on really poor apprentice wages. So I met a guy called Rodney Rushton, who went on, as you know, to become Sebring with me. But prior to that, we had another life, well, Rodney did, doing all war vehicles for all the war films, Indiana Jones films, Mummy, and all, you name it, he did it. And across the paths with the likes of Sean Connery on numerous occasions, and Roger Moore and Michael Caine and people. And so that gave me even more impetus to build up a collection of Bond cars.
So the Bond is way up there.
And well, today now we actually hire out cars to Bond themed things. If they go all around Europe, to be honest. So but this is the home, if you like, the base.
Right. So let's have a look at a few of them. Yeah. Let's start and we'll work our way round.
Okay. Well, this one is an AM V8. It's an Oscar Indy X-Pac 580, they call it, which is a blueprinted engine, which is 420 horsepower with the ZF dog leg gearbox. Right. So it is a proper X-Pac 580. It actually was. Originally had the larger wheels, the roller wheels, and the big chin spoiler at the front, but it didn't have the blacked out grille because obviously individual tastes when it was purchased originally by the King of Kuwait. Right. So it left the factory as a left-hand drive, but within 6 months it never got taken to Kuwait, it stayed in Pall Mall, and then it came back to Aston factory and was converted to right-hand drive and then upgraded to X-Pac 580 engine, which has now got a blueprinted 420 horsepower dynoed engine. And then obviously it ran 2 or 3 owners. It's had a complete mechanical restoration by Aston Engineering, and I bought it because it had a very good history and very good mechanical service history, and everything been reconditioned. But it was in this colour, the blue of the Jensen, which is a Rolls-Royce Peacock blue.
Right.
So and it had a cream interior, which was looking tired, with the blue piping. So, but I bought it for the basis that it was a good Bond car. Yeah. It was an X-Pac 580, but it didn't have the later flared arches So the Bond car had the narrow arches, and then converted it to the BBS alloys and had it completely stripped back to bare metal, repainted in Cumberland grey, which is the infamous Bond colour, fully retrimmed with black leather. All the wood was redone, carpets. So it is absolutely... And then, in actual fact, it was done by the same people who did the Bond cars for No Time to Die. So it was done literally just after them. So,
and in case anybody hadn't noticed, if you look down the side, you'll see it's got the optional ski pack.
Yeah, it came with a special extra. Yeah. Again, they did the originals, so they made me a set of skis for it, which just finishes the car off.
Yeah.
So we've got, so that's the Aston there.
So let's move along one.
This one is a Hertz rent-a-car spec Mustang Mach 1 1971. Again, if in the film Diamonds Are Forever, obviously Tiffany Case, she goes to Hertz rent-a-car, you see her pick the car up, and then Sean drives it. And this is the spec you would have got in 1971 with the skinny wheels, Ford skinny wheels, in red, bog standard. Although the car in the film was running on a big block Cobra engine, but this is a standard Cleveland 351. But it's still a quick car, to be honest.
Performance.
But when you watch it in the film, to get the speed and the power slides out of it, they obviously had to go with that engine. Yeah. But to me, it's a lovely car, it drives lovely, and quite frankly, I've always wanted one. But it's been fully restored as well.
And you say this is Karen's favourite car?
It's Karen's favourite car, yeah.
Yes.
The only thing is, it's got a black interior. In the film, it's got a red interior. But this car originally was red with a red interior. But somebody, for some reason, brought it to the UK and decided to paint it yellow and replace the red interior with a black interior. Right. So we're actually waiting from what they call Pony, forget the name of the company, PJ Pony Parts in the States for the red, vermilion red interior kit. Right. So and then it will be full stock Bond. But yeah, it's Karen's favourite as well.
And if we move on now to the archetypal, the James Bond car. Yeah,
well, you can't have a collection without a DB5.
No,
I did toy with the idea of doing a replica because, again, in the latest film, they are carbon fibred BMW stunt cars, and that wasn't. I could have saved a lot of money had I built my own that way, but it just wouldn't have been the same thing. No. So,
and with the chrome wires as well, if you want to come around and have a look at the side profile, that front three-quarter view, that is everything an Aston Martin should be.
But this car is absolutely pristine. It's as it came out the factory, probably better than it came out the factory, to be honest. In as new, same under the bonnet, everything. It'd probably give Concours a run for the money. Yes. In fact, I might even put it in this year.
Yeah, why not? So Nothing to lose.
I didn't last year because I was up against someone I didn't want to upset him. So, and then obviously, 17-year restoration, but it's good to go. It starts on the button and drives lovely. Yeah. So then you've got your Vanquish S. Yes. Well, this one's an S, but in Die Another Day, it's a Vanquish. But this is slightly more power, slightly more. There's a few changes to the gearbox, etc. But I think the early Vanquishes had a few problems. So this is the one to get, but it's in Bond spec with the tungsten silver and the black interior. So again, that's a nice car, comfy seats. It's a flying machine again, and it's only done 18,000 miles. This car, so it's very low mileage.
Nothing. Yeah.
No.
And tucked away discreetly in the corner.
Yeah, this one.
Heffel's finest.
Yeah, well, this one will be coming out in a couple of weeks because obviously it's 50-year anniversary of Lotus Esprit. And it's earmarked to go to a major display. So we've got to get it out, finish putting the rest of the trim in, tidy up bits of trim that got messed up when we were putting the trim on there. But it's all cosmetic. It was just put in here really just because we had an open day and people wanted to see it. Obviously the tailgate's not fixed on because we've got to put the engine in, which is sat on its test jig in the workshop. With these cars now, we found that it's such a faff taking the engine in and out, and chances are when you put it in, there's always a problem with the clutch or the carburetors. So we have our own test jig, so we run them up.
Perfect, and set everything, sort it all, and then pop it in knowing it's going to be a turn the key.
Exactly, because it is a nightmare otherwise. But this particular car was actually burnt out. It's had a whole new back end because they only, rumour has it, and it's probably not far off the truth, they only made 4 with chocolate brown interior and Monaco white, which is the Bond car spec from the film. And this one languished in someone's garage for about 30 years, but he kept it for spares for another one he had. And it came up on eBay, and then it was quite surreal because the guy, when I actually bought it as is, it said not for the faint-hearted. So I bought it. When he delivered it, it turned out he worked for a company that we had down in Brighton. So we struck up a friendship, and so but it was missing lots of parts. We had to make parts for the dry sump engine because you can't get them anymore. And these compomotive wheels, we ended up getting them 5-axis scanned and rebuilt on a 5-axis CNC machine with aircraft grade aluminium, which was by my friend and your friend Mark Van Dreel.
Gifted engineer.
It's very much so, yeah. So he did it in his stride.
Are you aware of his latest stunt bike riding escapade?
Yeah.
Whoa, what that man can't do on a superbike.
I know. I mean, at 53 years, well, he was 53 last time I saw him.
Yeah.
And he was like #2 stunt rider in the country.
Yeah.
I don't know.
How many different lives does he want?
Yeah, exactly. I think I'll point what he's on.
Anyway, we're now on to
this one. Yeah, this again, this was the other Aston. I always liked this car because I think I was about 10 or 11 years old when the film came out in '69, and it just looked so cool flying around. Yeah. And so I decided to get one. This particular one was in Heartbeat actually, and there's a book on it which the previous owner made up because, as you can see, it got crashed in one of the episodes. Police guy pulls him in, and he ends up crashing into a Triumph 2000. Driven by Mr. Carver of the Bill at the time, yeah. So it was then literally over 17 years completely stripped down. So it's got a good pedigree. All the outriggers were done. The engine was all done. The only downside to it for me was it had an automatic gearbox, which literally sucks the life out of the power of this engine. So it's now been converted to 5-speed Tremec. Which Aston do a really good conversion. As you can see, it's got the DB5 gear knob and gator, very light, and it's so improved the motorway cruising now. Yeah. When you get it on, it sits lovely
because you've got a proper overdrive feel. Yeah. Whereas the old automatic gearbox would have been a direct drive top gear, wouldn't it? So you really needed another gear.
Yeah, and it just well, what those early band boxes are like. They're just sluggish. Yeah. So it's really sprightly now. So again, we've got a '69 early spec DBS 6 with the wires.
Beautiful colour.
Yeah, in olive green, so Bond spec. This one's a bit out of sorts because it's not Bond, but to me, it's the pinnacle of the Lotus Esprit, the S4s. So obviously they brought the V8 out, which this model was designed for, had a few early teething troubles with the V8. So they carried back on with the 4-cylinder engine as a charged cool, and they were getting 300 plus horsepower out of it.
So why put a V8 in when you're getting that kind of power?
The crazy thing is the V8 was capable of 500 horsepower, but at that time, to get a differential gearbox for it, they were using the RM1 Renault gearbox, which was really maxing out at 300 horsepower, and so it suited this charged-cooled engine, but you were on your limits with the V8. Obviously, I think now they do, upgrades to the gearbox. It's like everything else, tooling and everything, and engineering are much simpler and cheaper now for short runs. So, but this particular model, as I said, is my favourite because power to weight ratio, that 300 horsepower and that weight, will certainly keep up with a couple of these Astons.
And one of the most stunning colours that Lotus ever used.
Yeah, azure blue. Yeah,
fits the car perfectly.
Yeah, with the cream leather and the wood. I always like the wood. Yeah, I preferred this year till they changed in '99. So it's just one that you wonder why it's sitting there doing nothing till you take it out and drive it, and then it all comes back. Yeah. So.
And then we have the Jensen.
Yeah, well, this one here, it's quite rare in as much that if you look on the front badge, it's a Series 4, and they only made 8. Wow. So what it is, it's actually a 1976 end of the run Jensen Interceptor Series 3 J Series. But when the Saint Series was allocated in the 90s, obviously Roger Moore had the Volvo 1800S. Ian Ogilvy then, in the return, had the Series 1 XJS. And then when it came to Simon Dutton's time, they were looking around, and Jensen was sort of re-emerging, trying to relaunch the Interceptor Series 4. So it seemed to be the ideal gentleman's carriage, and they supplied a car. So Jensen bought from a customer a late 76 car with a wood dash, and they up-spec this car to Series 4, which were the making at the time. So it's got the louvered bonnet, the different front grille and the front spoiler, and some of the other cars had the Recaro seats, but this one actually was just recolonized. And the other feature is, I've actually got a letter from London Weekend Television to Webasto, can you please fit an electric sunroof for filming in Berlin? So when you Google the Saint series with Jensen Interceptor, at the beginning of the film, you'll see this Jensen pulling up at the front of this hotel in Hamburg, I think it is, and that's the car that you see. It's got a plaque in there as well.
Still, is it a 383 or a 400?
It's the 7.2.
Yeah. Okay.
7.2 V8.
The big block Chrysler.
It is, yeah.
Heavy engine.
Very heavy engine. Very smooth, but it's not going to set the world alight.
No. And
again, it's funny because that engine more suits that 3-speed gearbox.
Yeah.
But again, the fuel figures are, they're ridiculous.
Yeah.
So
if you get it in double figures, you're going downhill with a tailwind.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And then the DBS.
Yeah, the
to finish the tour.
DBS. Yeah. This one belonged to Mr. Bakeoff, Paul Hollywood, which we bought. I had one before, but I wanted a manual. So this one's the manual gearbox, and the difference between the manual and the auto, and the driving style as well.
Yeah.
So I don't know about you, but I'm old school. If you can imagine what it used to be like back in the day when you drove a 2.8i Capri, you could slaughter it in second, third gear, couldn't you? Well, imagine trying to drive a paddle shift Capri like that. You just wouldn't have the same experience. So, and it's the same with these. When you've got the manual and the torque in that engine.
Yeah, you've got complete control. Then,
oh God, yeah. You put it in second.
Trying to do its thing.
You put it in second, it'll pull away up to 90 really.
Yeah.
And it's just phenomenal. So and it's Bond spec Casino Royale Silver with the launch edition wheels, manual. So as I said, I had one before, but I'm not bothered with the later cars because, to be honest, to me, this was the pinnacle for them. Yeah. Really, they all started to look a bit the same. And then after that one, the only other one is the BMW over there. We had the original one that survived from filming in London. I drove it around for about 6 years, and then it went through a funny story which I won't go into. But look, just suffice to say, I don't own it anymore, unfortunately. But I bought that one to mock up as a Bond car. The sunroof will go in, and then there's a dummy 12 rocket pack to go in the roof, which just gives it the look. But that particular car has only done 7,000 miles, so it's a 1999 spec car. 7,000 miles. It's like brand new.
Wow.
So, and it does start on the button. I do run it for an MOT every year and quick run out, but to be honest, it's built to last. If you look after them, it's built to last.
Yes. Unfortunately, it's in the dry as well, which is going to help dramatically. Isn't it? It's not sitting over wet grass and stuff. So,
no, exactly. So, and it always has been garaged.
Yeah.
So other than that, and as you know, we got the other S1 over there. Yep. Esprit and the submarine that we've made. Yeah. And we've got two out on with Bond actually at the moment. So they're abroad. The Ski Lotus from the For Your Eyes Only.
Yep. So well, when that one comes back here, I'd love to come again and come and have a look at that one. Yeah. And then perhaps we can do another few bits at the same time. So. Yeah.
Well, it will be back here. It's actually coming back this month. Again, Lotus borrowing it for the 50th anniversary with the submarine, full-scale submarine, and an S1. Then they're coming back here for a while, and then they're going off to Germany for a show for 6 months. So, as I said, that's Rodney used to do stuff like this with Castle Films, and now my contact in the industry, who does all your Netflix, BBC, does them all. I do stuff with him as well. Brilliant. So I just like doing it, really,
Well, I mean, what fun to have a collection like this. So.
Yeah. Well,
anyway, we'll wrap it up for now.
Yep.
Thanks for your time, Martin.
No, you're more than
Much
welcome.
appreciated.
Yep.
If we get the opportunity at a later date during the summer, maybe I'll get to do some driving shots on the Enigma, just to jar a few. But for now, we'll wrap it up there. Yep. And it's come out really well. Thank you.
All right. You're welcome. Okay. Thank you.
Thanks Martin and Chris for this wonderful tour, and thanks for watching. Please consider giving us a like, share, and leave a comment. It really helps. This tour has been created as supplementary footage to our 7spot members' video, Cracking the Enigma Code. If you like the work we do at 7spot, please consider becoming a channel member to receive perks such as early access to exclusive content and a complimentary subscription to our digital magazine. Cheers and see you at 7spot.